Thank you. So it's awesome that I have more 7 minutes, I guess, because my presentation, guys, is going to be long. So hopefully you're going to have enough coffee. So I was actually contemplating for quite some time what presentation I should do today, whatever it should be like more inspirational or actually more operational, like active tools, etc. So wasn't actually sure whether there's going to be more funders here or more investors. I see actually both. But I figured out, okay, I forgot to actually tell you who I am. So my name is Wojtek Sadowski, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Packhelp. Packhelp is a B2B marketplace, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But speaking about the theme of today's presentation, I actually prepared for both scenarios. So I prepared 2 presentations. So the first one is like more inspirational. It's called like 10 things we did or didn't do to grow fast. It's inspirational, but still like fully operational inside. So there's going to be a lot of things that I think were kind of what makes us, let's say, successful. And the second presentation is about like building a data-driven organization, which I think Packhelp starts to be very good at. It's very operational, but for some of you probably a little bit too much. So there's going to be tools, etc. So I figured like I'm going to do a vote, and you guys are going to decide what kind of presentation I'm going to do. So just by raising your hands, who's behind option A? Uh-oh. And who's behind option B? Whoa. Nevertheless, we're actually going to do both. So that's a good sign, but we're going to be smart about it, and we're going to do 8 things we did or didn't do to grow fast. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story how to build it, because I'm not a big expert in it. But I'm actually going to show you how we started building it in Packhelp, and I think what's a kind of a very good position to build your data-driven marketplace. But lesson number 1 from all that is that building any company, of course, is very challenging, and you have to do a lot of stuff. But what I've learned by doing Packhelp is that in B2B marketplaces, it's even more important, because you have totally different supply side and totally different demand side. So you can't need to account for 2 scenarios at the same time. So in order to actually be successful in it, you actually need to do both sometimes. But before we're going to dig into the topic, I just want to give you a short introduction to what Packhelp is. So Packhelp's mission is to democratize access to custom packaging. That's often what we often say, which means that we want every company to be able to express their brand through packaging. It all comes to one single problem, is that if you have an e-commerce business, actually it's very hard to order high-quality custom packaging. You would end up going to Google, searching for it. You will see all those ridiculous pictures of machines and like industry companies, and we are just about, and actually you cannot easily solve your problem, which is just ordering packaging. So how customers see it, it's quite like that. So you have a small business, you want to order custom packaging, you go to the website, you go to Google, you try to search for it, and you immediately see that you need to order a lot of boxes at once. So we are Packhelp, we solved it by decreasing the MOQ to only 30 pieces of packaging. Then if you already want to order it, you need to see that you need to spend so much into it. So typically you're just starting your business, and then this company is requiring you to pay 2,000 euros upfront for packaging, so it's like not really flexible. The third thing is that if you already went through that process once, they need to actually do it the second time and third time with all the manufacturers that of different kind of packaging, and ultimately you have to all do it manually, because you need to call those guys, email them, etc. And there's not a lot of online customer service, and unfortunately you need to wait for those boxes very often for weeks or months in some scenarios. And the worst part in it is that all those people along the way will ask you all those ridiculous questions about packaging, like, what kind of packaging you want? Do you want to have double-sided corrugated flute with flexographic printing? I'm really interested in how many of you actually know what I just spoke. Probably some of you know, but not really a lot of people, especially if you're just starting e-commerce, really know about that. So Packhelp is a one-stop marketplace, how we call ourselves, to quickly design and order custom branded packaging. How it works, we are a B2B marketplace, but we call ourselves very often that we are a one-sided controlled marketplace. That's how very often investors call us as well. So the thing is, like, our customers are e-commerce businesses, very often small businesses, emerging businesses, or already growing. And our supply side, we have printing houses from all over Europe, mostly still come from Poland. And we often say that we are a marketplace that controls one side of it, which is the supply side. So our customers don't really know that they are not buying from us, which is okay, because we take care of everything in the process. So we've been growing pretty heavily for the last 3 years. We have more than 17,000 customers already from 30 countries. We often say that we help D2C brands, so direct-to-consumer brands, with excelling with the packaging. All our customers come from a variety of sectors, more or less we're kind of sector agnostic, and throughout our service we've been able to work with a lot of big brands like Uber or H&M. One of the key things, what is kind of very unique, I think, in Packhelp is that we have 6 co-founders, which I personally love, and I really like all of them because they're kind of my best friends, and they were actually for the last 20 years. But one of the key things that we started off is that B2B marketplaces are all about kind of diversifying your time, and having 6 co-founders on the team means that you have a person really responsible for key challenges of your business and really actually like it. But we have amazing investors. That's, of course, what helps us grow exponentially in the last year. The last round that we did was of $10 million with White Star Capital. But, of course, we are super grateful for having company like investors like Speed Invest or Market One as well on board. They help us greatly on our way to becoming a leading packaging marketplace in Europe. As there are as well growth stage investors here, just wanted to say that we will be raising in the Q2 2020. So whenever you have time, I'm here. Just grab me after the session. I would love to tell you more about what Packhelp does. Okay, that was Packhelp. Now let's kick in with all the things. So first of all, first thing, if you want to start your own B2B marketplace, what I found out along the way, you don't really need to be an expert in it. So it's not that we've been selling custom packaging for the last, I'm like 29, so not 20 years. The thing is that I don't really believe you need to be an expert in order to start B2B marketplace, because I wasn't really familiar with what B2B marketplaces are when I was starting Packhelp. The idea is to actually stay naive as long as you go, and we started this company as a challenge for, we wanted to sell custom boxes in a cool internet way, and this kind of still is our motto in so many ways. And to kind of prove you that, that's me standing on the box. And that was how we were testing durability of boxes in our first days. I guess probably there are better ways than just standing on the boxes anyway. So the idea number one, you don't need to be an expert in the industry to actually start a B2B marketplace. Second thing, so we as Packhelp started with small customers, often referred to Soho, or some of the people call them mice, which I don't really like, but there's got to be like going through with those mice. Anyway, so starting with small customers in B2B is super interesting because there's a lot of them, which means that you can test a lot. And it doesn't, and you see effects pretty immediately because the sales cycle is very, very low, like very quick. So basically, you can test a lot of stuff with small customers. But what we learned along the way that you need to like the numbers always going to drive you to going to up markets, to bigger customers. So what we didn't really have a lot of big plans how to grow big customers when we started, and I think it's very wise to start your business already knowing how to move up market. So always have a plan for going for the big guys. Speaking about moving up market, what we are doing in Packhelp is we are identifying each of the new segments or business unit, how we call it, every step of the way. And we don't want to go for the enterprise and big customers too soon. So I kind of go like segment by segment. So the way it works in Packhelp is that we have something that we call Packhelp Online. So these are those small customers, like very entry customers that we have. And we actually discovered that you need to actually have totally different value propositions for each of the customers along the way. So we have Packhelp Plus, which are a little bit different customers, bigger customers, where we offer more flexibility. So with Packhelp Online, for example, you can only order boxes of a specific size. But in Packhelp Plus, you can order whatever you want. Then now we are all about Packhelp Pro, which is our new service that is dedicated to the biggest customers, that is all about managing the supply chain. Key takeaway from that, guys, is that first of all, you need to have different value propositions for all of those segments. You need to account for different acquisition strategies for all of those segments. So you need to have different unit economics for those segments, and you know what I'm getting. It's kind of like 3 businesses in one. And if you want to be successful, our thesis is you actually want to have to go segment by segment, and by increasing one segment, you're actually bringing efficiency to another one. So key takeaway, if you nailed the mice, like the first segment, go for another one, move one step up, and that's what we're trying to do. Fourth thing. Text comes first. I think there's a lot of value that you can bring to your B2B marketplace if you're going to build it around tech. Tech was kind of what we do in Packhelp. Every part, every solution that we want to build is we always ask ourselves the question, whatever we can do it with tech, and what's the kind of advantage of doing that in tech. One of the stories that I often tell here is that why you should trust your CTO. So I remember actually when we started, I was having those battles with my CTO because he was always telling, so we launched Packhelp with quite sophisticated tech stack, and I remember that I had experience in doing something like on a more MVP value, on the MVP stage, and he convinced me to do it on the bigger stack. And of course, we've been quarreling for the next 2 years because of that, because everything took a little bit more time than it's supposed to. But then I think last month ago, we had a visitor from the CTO or ex-CTO of a $1 billion company from the US, and he sat down with our CTO and told him that we have one of the amazing stacks that he has actually seen, and that was one of the best decisions that we probably did. Of course, they have actually the same stack, so he's kind of biased. But at the same time, what the value is from that, just trust your CTO. If you already chose one, just trust him. But to give you some idea how we build those value about tech, there are two things that we built, and we actually have to build it at the same time. The first one is what we call Packhelp, like customer technology. So everything that our customers see it. If any one of you have any experience with Packhelp before, it's actually about, for example, one of the examples of that is our online editor. On the back office technology, we have something that we call Packhelp platform. So all the tools that help us to manage the daily productions. Fifth thing, I think, oh no, use the PDF. So you guys are not going to see animations, unfortunately. And there's a cool animation here. Anyway, building brand. I don't really think that B2B means boring, and especially if you're starting with the B2C kind of customers. So we are from the very beginning, we wanted to be the brand that expresses cool packaging. And we're now actually making even bigger step around that. We invest quite heavily into organic and content and brand, because we believe that the one that's going to have the biggest attention in the segment is going to win the race. And that's why we want to make sure that if you think packaging, you think Packhelp. So ultimately, if you're starting the B2B marketplace, brand will be your low-hanging fruit. And there would be video to prove that, but there is no, probably. Yeah. Sixth thing, mastering acquisition. So that's a kind of a complicated topic, but I give you one idea what I mean by that. So when we started initially, so one of the key things when we acquire customers is search. So when you think about those small customers, especially like the beginning customers, most of them actually don't really know about packaging, so they will just type in Google, custom packaging. And that's it. That's as simple as it gets. You just search for it in Google. And that's what we discovered quite quickly, that people and the demand is already there. So if you're starting with small customers, probably most of them search for your product in Google, which is fine, although if you're not making something complex. And unfortunately, there's a good part of it and bad part. The good part is that the customers are there. The bad part is going to be quite a bit expensive to acquire them. So what we do in Packhelp, we actually started with search, with investing a lot into paid marketing. And throughout that process, we started to learn a lot about what are the best converting keywords in Google. And we started to invest more into organic exposure. And through that, now we have better, healthier unit economics, because more or less 50% of our Google exposure right now is organic, which is awesome. Couple of other lessons to learn about acquisition. If without segmentation, you're going to fail. You need to account for different high CAC on different groups. You need to know who your customers are. Don't invest into paid. If you're like B2B, we've been doing that. In paid social, because it doesn't really matter and account. But we tried it. You probably would like to do it because there's a very cheap click, but unfortunately, it doesn't bring you conversions. If you go like mobile is a very often low-hanging fruit. Awesome, but think about it in a second. Who is very responsive and can buy packaging on mobile? Most of the people would actually want to check those before they're going to make those 2,000 euros commitments to our company. So most of the actually leads that we would get from mobile are like people, I don't know, sitting in the bus and writing us potential leads. Which is so basically, if you want to go mobile, make sure that you understand that it's not so easy to close those leads. And last but not least, always account for long sales processes, which is, I think, what kills most of the B2B businesses like that, because unfortunately, you want to test something, awesome, but 12 months later, you're going to have the results, and along the way, you're going to just burn out of the cash. So make sure that whatever experiments you're doing, it's going to take so much time, a lot of time to prove it. Oh, my favorite topic, retention. So like, probably everyone was saying today that retention is the silent killer of marketplaces. It is. I wouldn't say we're experts on that front, but I can just give you a couple of ideas what I've learned about retention. You have to be very persistent about how you kind of do experiments of retention. It's not something that you can influence super quickly. It's not like you're just going to launch one new feature and that's going to change the whole game. What we learned is you have to be persistent and learn step by step. So what we did first was we identified what are our retention metrics, and it's going to be probably very different for different startups. For us, it was sales value, orders, and customers. And when we identified this, then we started to move to look closely on what kind of periods we are interested in. So what I mean by that is that should people buy packaging every month? Not really, because if they order the last month, they're going to receive the boxes on the next month, so it's probably they're not going to order it once again. So maybe quarters. Okay, quarters are fine, but if you're like want to build a bigger business, you're probably going to account for more time. So ultimately, we ended up being in the kind of half-year periods of cohorts, and it's probably different for all the startups. And then, when you have all that, you put segments on top of it and kind of try to figure out how this retention differs in business units. And then, ultimately, you benchmark it against the competition. And that's how we do it. And one of the key things that make sure to write down, if you guys don't know what is RFM, recency frequency monetary, so RFM method, make sure to find it. It's an awesome way to segment your customers. It's going to bring you a lot of understanding of your customers. And ultimately, don't be fooled by the blended numbers. The truth hides within. Last but not least, the eighth thing, at the same time, the second part of the presentation being the data-driven decision. This should unfortunately go up, and you should see how many kind of events are popping on our website or our systems every time. So, I just need to have a sip of water. I know I talk fast. Oh, thank you, thank you. There's going to be bees. Okay, so data-driven decisions. So go big with data. That's the key takeaway from that slide. But what we do with data in Packhelp. So first question is, how many tools you think like the typical startup should use? It's like 1.15, 20 plus. How many tools you should use in your data stack? There's no clear answer to that question, I know, but we use more than 20. This slide is old. We use more than 50 probably at the same time. So all of those different tools that you see here are doing different stuff, and the best part of it, we don't need developers to bring them in. Whatever tool you want to use, you can just actually test yourself. Marcin, who is with us today, Marcin Paschko, our product manager, he can just basically do whatever he wants. He can just plug in any tools that he wants every day. Why we came to that conclusion that we need to have such an experience? So it used to look like this. So people would enter our website. Then we would ask developers to put these codes for like Google Analytics, Base, Intercom, or MailChimp on our website. And whenever we wanted to change something, we need to ask them again, whatever they can actually change something. And then our awesome power, our analysis, would have a nightmare of downloading all those information from all those systems and pulling off some information out of that. So the problem with that was that our reporting was very manual. We only actually founders have access to it. Meaning that we actually we wanted to be a very transparent organization. Packhelp wanted to be a very transparent organization, but we couldn't be. At the same time, whenever we wanted to test something, for example, on a more deeper level, like segmentation or user behavior, we couldn't do it. So there was a game changer. Do you guys know this tool? Okay, awesome. I'm not affiliate of Segment, but this is freaking awesome. You have to try it. Segment is amazing. The way Segment works, yep. The way Segment works, you connect Packhelp or your company to Segment, just one integration, that's all. And your developers just take care of only this thing. And what Segment is doing is actually connected with all those tools that you see, and they communicate with each other. So more or less what it means that we can have multiple data sources coming with data streams. We can connect them with each other without any developers on hand. We can trigger actions in all those tools based on actions on other tools. It's awesome. And we can connect, as I mentioned, all the new tools in a matter of a couple of minutes. One of the very basic tools that I can recommend to you as well is Autopilot. It's like one of those many marketing automation tools out there. But I think this one is, from my personal experience, the best. It allows you to do marketing automation, sales automation, automated follow-ups. Awesome. Try it out. Amplitude, probably most of you know it. Then when you already have those kind of marketing automation stamped, you then pull Amplitude, put all of those events there, and you can have a very quickly conversion data. And ultimately, make sure that you take all that data that you have and put it to the big query, which is the whole SQL database. You put your hire awesome analyst, and then this analyst uses Power BI to present any kind of report that you want. What we use Power BI for, or all this thing, we create sales reporting, unit economics, CAC reports, cohort segmentation, whatever you want. You can actually prepare it with all those tools and based on those data. And last, and there's supposed to be video as well, so you'll notice how creepy it is. Do you guys know Full Story? Wait, one person. So this is the creepiest tool you probably can find online, but it's the most useful one probably in our stack. So what it does, I know people know Hotjar, right? So that the heat mapping tool. So this is basically much better. So it records all the sessions like movies. So for example, whenever you want to check something out, you can just check in Full Story what this user was doing precisely, and just at the same time actively help him out. So for example, if someone writes us on the chat that, hey, I have an issue with uploading a video or uploading a photo on my box, we can actually see live on our screens what he's doing and help him out in advance. Make sure to check it out. Awesome tool, not expensive, unfortunately. So, effects of all this, what we did with data, we have consistent data along all the tools. Data is actually our key driver to all the decisions that we make. The whole team is aligned. 80% of the team uses all this data. Everyone has access to it. We are very transparent about that, so you can actually check yourself. And everyone is on the same page, and there are no manual processes. Everything is automatic, and I love that. And it actually speeds up the decision when you have, we have 100 people right now, so it speeds up the decision-making process very, very quickly. Okay, so I know it was fast. Hopefully, you learned something from it. Key takeaways that I want you to have it. First of all, you don't need to be an expert to start a B2B marketplace. It's awesome to start with small customers, but make sure that you're ready with the big ones already, because that's the game where the game is going to be played. Create value about tech, because that's kind of like the best thing you can do, especially when you're in Poland. Retention, make sure that you're on track of it. And finally, create a data-driven organization. It's super easy these days, and it's going to save you so much money. Thank you very much. My name is Wojtek Sadowski, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Really nice, excuse me, really nice presentation, Wojtek.
Thank you.
And congrats on the business. So, Michał Faber's pre-commerce, actually, we are behind the framework, the e-commerce framework that your business is built on. And just an anecdote, I wanted to share that from time to time we get a request for a quote for a platform like yours. And it's my job to actually explain to people how much effort you've put into this business and this platform, so now I can redirect them to this video, and it's gonna, make my job a lot easier. So really good job, and congrats.
Thanks a lot. I know, too much information. Everyone is already thinking about coffee. I know.
Still processing.
I think that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to catch me. I'm going to be here for the rest of the day. Thanks a lot, guys.
Wojtek, thanks a lot.